start recording. So we continue our cooperation, and it's my honor and pleasure to pass the floor to Professor Adam Wojtowicz. So he will be the moderator, and I have problems with internet and electricity. So in case I disappear, it's not because I don't want to be here, just because I don't have the opportunity to be here. So I see Mark, wonderful. So Professor Adam Wojtowicz, the floor is yours. It's our pleasure to greet you here.
Thank you very much, Volodymyr. It is always a pleasure to collaborate in the conference with you. So today we have a second day of our software engineering and cybersecurity conference. We have two panels. I have the pleasure of leading the first one, and we have four speakers on this first panel. The first one, I have great pleasure to introduce Dr. Mark Thomas, who is an assistant professor in Department of Political Science and Economics in La Salle University in the United States. He is already with us. He will be presenting the presentation Evolving Frontiers: Foundational Progress in Cybersecurity. Mark, the floor is yours.
All right. Good morning. Slava Ukraina, thank you very much for bringing me into the conference again. It's always an honor to speak with colleagues overseas, especially in Ukraine. The topic today, I'm be talking about the evolving front lines of cybersecurity. And when I look at cybersecurity or cyber defense, I always think about it as we're trying to build an airplane while it's still flying, because the offense and the defense evolve so quickly that we have to be always not only physically on the front line, but also mentally on the front line of what we're doing. And this conference does a great deal in bringing awareness, but also sharing knowledge of what we're facing. In a paper yesterday, I talked about how well Ukraine's defense was and how resilient it had been. And one of the parts of what made or makes Ukraine hopefully resilient is the fact it's using cloud computing as part of their resiliency redundancy program. And then on Monday, we had that Amazon attack, which I think we've attributed now back to, I'm trying to think the name of the advanced persistent threat, Salt Typhoon. And we now have to start thinking about, we always trusted cloud security as one of our great backups. But after the Salt Typhoon attack on Monday, which took down about 50% of the universities in America, took down our ability to communicate with our students, we now have to rethink cloud security. But that just is one example of how the evolving offense and the ability of adversaries to take advantage of any hole in the system, any vulnerability, means we always have to be on that front line of how do we now move or how do we now adjust or fix any problems with cloud security or cloud computing to our advantage. Then we have new other threats coming, which we're addressing here in the conference, such as artificial intelligence, and how that will change the evolving lines of cybersecurity. And the other aspect of that, we then think about the deep fakes and everything that can be done with deep fakes. And these are all the big technical problems, but in many ways, what we're facing here is like we do in the kinetic world, which is really an example of the security dilemma, where one side's offense or defense gets interpreted as a means of being offensive or being an offensive weapon. And then the defense has to respond back, and it looks like an offense responds, it looks like a defense. And we then end up in our security dilemma, which results in a kinetic world in an arms race. But cybersecurity and cyber defense, the same thing. We're essentially in an arms race in the cyber world. And as the technical evolves, we also have to think about, as we address the technical world of this airplane in flight, we also have to think about the non-technical fixes to what we have to do, because as we all know, the biggest vulnerability to any cyber system or anything in the digital world is really the human being at the other end. And more difficult than adjusting or building the new technologies to make cyber defense feasible, because cyber defense, I remember speaking with a general back in the mid 2000s when cybersecurity was just an afterthought. In fact, the US was so involved with Afghanistan and Iraq that cyber defense and cyber exploitation really was like, oh, it's being taken care of. And the general looked up at me and he said, Dr. Thomas, I respect what you're saying, but don't worry, we have cyber defense well on hand. And I walked out of the meeting and I thought, either he's lying to me or he's lying to himself, because the nature of the technologies are always so fast. But more difficult than adjusting the technologies is adjusting policy. And policy in a broad sense of what we have to do. One, how do we adjust our laws and regulations, especially in democracies, of what is available or what should be put out or what can be put out and covered without violating freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And I think here, back to what I talked about yesterday, about the fact that in many aspects, the adversary's best use or most effective use over the past 10, 15 years of cyber technologies isn't so much crippling our capabilities, it's more of impacting the hearts and minds of people. And here we go into that area of misinformation, disinformation. So how do we manage the freedom of speech, freedom of the press? And there's a broader problem with this in that we look, especially in Western societies right now, be it Germany, France, to a certain extent, Poland, to a large extent in the US, about how individuals, because of there's so much information out there, and I deal with this on a day-to-day basis with my students, of they get siloed into channels of information that they trust, and it may not be trustworthy information. The second aspect of that, though, is like with physical pain, you start to become numb to it. And because people become numb to the constant flow of information, they don't know how to react. And they don't react. The other aspect of that then goes to they actually start to develop views which become, I would say, agnostic or cynical about our political systems. And then the third aspect of that, because, and it's the nature of democracy, and Plato talked about it, that because there's so much freedom out there, people start to perceive that as you can do anything you want with it, which leads to a degradation of values. Well, what that then leads to, as in Plato, people get tired of the chaos, and because of the cynicism developed by the onslaught of information, they then start to think about, well, we need a radical solution. Hence, you see the rise of far right and far left, of parties and peoples we see agitation, we see many attacks. Cybersecurity then has to go beyond just thinking about the technical fixes. And you all are technologists. I'm a political scientist / political philosopher. So I worry about the impact of misinformation and then siloed misinformation on the viability of democracy, of liberal democracy as we understand it. So our laws have to adjust to that. Second, our laws have to adjust to um, how do we share information between industry to industry. And I go back to experiences when I was at the Pentagon, where industry to industry sharing, because people are afraid to admit, and it goes that an attack has occurred, that they don't report the attacks because they don't want to appear, one, that they had an attack, because there's a liability that goes with it, financial liability to whoever they're supposed to, whose information they're supposed to be protecting. And then two, to a bigger extent, how much do they owe if they're a defense contractor and they've been attacked? How much do they owe, or liability do they owe to the government to which they've contracted? And how's it go to their performance ratings in terms of how well they've produced a product? And if our technologies get compromised, how much liability does a firm have? So industry to industry cooperation must improve, and our laws have to get to the point where we encourage that. But also, more than industry to industry, how do we get industry to collaborate with government? And I'm going to say just at the national level, how do we get a U.S. firm to cooperate with the U.S. government and say, yeah, we had this attack, and they expect big government to have all the solutions, which often isn't the case. Government's very, very slow to adapt technologies. Just by the contracting process, it makes it very slow. And then also, in terms of expectations, at least in our system, our expectations, what they have to do for cybersecurity or any other type of technology, we give them expectations based on what we know from the past. Well, the past is the past, and technology develop a lot faster. The offense develops a lot faster, so we can't keep up with the regulations that go with it. And with that goes, how do we fill the gap? Do you write the requirement broadly? And that doesn't give enough standard for that. Now, once we get beyond national sharing between industry and government and university and academia, then how do we get to international sharing within the alliance? And I have worked for NATO, so I'm a firm believer in the alliance. And I believe inevitably Ukraine will become a NATO member. Or at least associate after we get through this rough period. I've worked with the Ukrainian military quite frequently in other places and in Ukraine. But I have worked with them, and I know how capable they are. And Ukraine is showing a great capability right now in the cyber world. I was telling somebody recently that between the Cyber Center of Excellence up in Tallinn and what Ukraine is doing, we're moving the alliance forward. But beyond just moving, we have to move that sharing of information and technology sharing. Beyond just that, we have to share policy beyond NATO to other countries which share common concerns. In what's going to become a very questionable world in the next 3 to 4 years, I think we'll see some developments around the world which will make the problem in Ukraine kind of small. And that's not to say the problem in Ukraine is small. It's just it could be dwarfed by a larger conflict. Also, then we think about the attribution piece. We've never quite got attribution down. Again, that's where information sharing, and I guess the other word for that's intelligence sharing goes. We have to encourage that at the international level. And then we also have to adjust, and I mentioned it yesterday, how do we interpret what constitutes an act of war in a cyber attack? So I mentioned yesterday about the attacks on the domain reservé, which is that area where the government or the society has a right to be safe, be it culturally, politically, or economically, from attack. And it's right where the ICJ has considered any sort of attacks or exploitation, interference in the sovereignty of the state. How do we adjust international law to interpret that? It's a great area of research, a great area of exploration. As the courts and we evolve knowledge from what we're doing right now, we then can see where the line is. We haven't seen the type of attack that Kalberg thought we would see, or the effectiveness we would see. Beyond what constitutes an act of war, then we have to think what constitutes a violation of human rights or humanitarian law. So how do we know if an attack on, and I mentioned this yesterday, an attack on a power plant doesn't violate the law of armed conflict, the Geneva Conventions, the Hague Conventions, etc. And we get beyond the law and adjusting the law. How do we then, and I use an Aristotelian term, how do we habituate people to being more cautious in what they do? Our university just went through our annual cyber awareness, cyber defense training, and we have new sections now on how to worry about or how to defend AI, how to look at how the dangers of QR codes. How do we teach people, because it's so cyber and the use of cyber has proliferated so far into our lives, we can't get around it. It's an important aspect of what we're doing all the time. And then how do we, and again, the lessons from Ukraine is that a country that's very resilient and has great redundancy can minimize, and that's a human aspect. That's making sure we have continuity of operations plan, not just in government, but also in industry and academia. And you ask yourself, how if your network were to go down or your drive were to be compromised, how much redundancy do you have? I myself had a thumb drive go bad for a technical error. I lost 5 years of work, which for an academic or anybody is almost a lifetime of rebuilding. I've since learned to be more redundant with how I save my information. Somebody said save it in the cloud. Well, after what happened on Monday, I'm not sure the cloud is that safe. And then how do we raise awareness of people? And somebody once asked me, well, academics, we share all the time. I said, well, not really. Academics are as afraid of, well, every academic wants to be the next Albert Einstein or Sigmund Freud, for that matter, or the next great Nobel Prize winner. Academics, too, want to protect their information. So how do we get all this evolved into practice, law, and then technology? So it has to be a three-pronged approach. And with that, I think I will close and then leave it open for questions. I think if there are any questions from yesterday, I think we talked about possibly doing that. So with that, I'll stop.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the audience? Please raise your virtual hand if you may. Oh, I see Volodymyr. Please go ahead.
Yeah, dear Dr. Thomas, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. The question is Ukraine winning this cyber war or Ukraine is losing the cyber war? What is your opinion?
I would feel that Ukraine's actually doing quite well in the cyber war. I'm not sure what offensively they're doing against the Russians, but defensively, they definitely have the advantage. And I would attribute that to resiliency, redundancy, and also how well, they've trained the hearts and minds of people to resist misinformation, disinformation. But this is going to be an ongoing problem. Even after the kinetic part stops, the conflict is not over. Ukraine has to be prepared to shape the peace, because Russia will try to shape the peace in Ukraine to its favor. And more than shape the peace within Ukraine, they're going to try to shape how international support for Ukraine goes in the coming years. I don't know I kind of know what the stumbling blocks are for peace in Ukraine. Well, let me say the end of kinetic conflict in Ukraine. I know what the stumbling blocks are, the future of the Donbass, the form of government in Ukraine. I think Putin wants to change the form of government or change the government to somebody like somebody who is more in his favor the pre-Maidan protest period. And also, where will Ukraine sit internationally? If Russia would have its way, it will lean back towards the east, back towards Russia. So international support and shaping international minds and getting word out to other countries about what's going to be the Russian effort to shape the peace. It's going to be an ongoing war. And again, we have to work in alliance. This is a bigger problem because we have China, Iran, North Korea, all getting ready to take advantage of the battle space, the information battle space.
Thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions to this interesting speech? If no, I have one question. It is mostly related to the topic you have speak about yesterday, which is disinformation and misinformation. Yes, because we cannot analyze disinformation without discussing social media, and we cannot discuss social media without analyzing their business models, right? They are focused on clicks or on engagement, on polarizing opinions, on bubbles, even conspiracy theories that undermine social trust, undermine social integrity. Yeah, so money drives them. Money is the factor that drives the social media and all those problems. And we stopped buying Russian oil in Europe or gas because it drove the kinetic war. But we do not stop these business models in our social media. But it still drives the cyber war, and it drives disinformation. So I think that you are political philosopher. I think that there is some philosophical question about what is allowed financing and way of financing enemy actions in the social media era. How do you think whether it changes the way what is allowed model of financing the actions, malicious actions of the enemy, when we are allowing the business models that threaten our own societies, or how to cope with that from the philosophical perspective?
That is a truly profound question. It goes to the heart of what we understand as democracy or freedom. And I'm going to raise it to the level of ancient philosophy and say that freedom is only good if we use it in the sense of governing through reason and through dedication towards the common good. So how do we take social media and say, look, you're free to publish what you want, but you also have a responsibility to the common good. And we can take it down further and say, look, and you're exactly right, it's driven by money. So again, Plato and Aristotle, does money truly make you happy? That it goes to a much deeper problem. Consumerism, it goes to capitalism. I am not a good capitalist by any means because I don't go out and buy everything they say I should buy. I know what I need, and if it goes above that, it's like I don't need it. Don't tell me I do. But a lot of people feel they need lots of money to be happy. And all of us who've lived through that know that money doesn't buy happiness. Although my wife would say, I just don't know where to shop. So if we were to really put some degree of social responsibility and even what is extreme speech, or do we have social media responsibility to fact check, like we used to make the news media fact check before they publish. I go back to the stories of Walter Cronkite when John F. Kennedy got assassinated. He got a call from the hospital in Dallas saying John F. Kennedy was dying or had died. He had that 2 hours before he actually announced it because he waited for 3 sources to validate Kennedy was dead before he announced it. So do we put some sort of, and it goes to free speech and free expression, do we require social media, and for that matter, the online media or even the television media, to a degree of fact checking, to triangulate the data to say, yeah, we haven't not quite identified that yet. We don't know. But when I watch CNN nowadays, they're constantly giving me updates. So we can't stop with social media. We have to go to the mainstream media as well. Social media is a problem. Everybody gets to be their own reporter, and everybody gets to put out their own opinion. And once you've got enough clicks, people think, oh, this must be an authority. Well, no, it's just somebody that's been very popular. And democracy shows that he who is popular may not be the best leader. In fact, he could be the actual, not to use a religious term, but could be the antichrist of information out there. I'm not on social media because it takes up too much time. I mean, my students, I call them my children. They, back in the day when we were young, when I'd go home from school, I was safe. But now social media infiltrates them all the time. They are never safe from anything. And even as adults, the more you get on it, the more addicted you become to it. So we have to go back and figure out, for a very philosophical, religious reason, what's the moral basis of what we're doing? And how do we constrain ourselves? Because if we constrain ourselves, media will constrain itself. So I go back and put it on the individual. So a very deep question, a deep answer to a very deep question. Thank you. That's a great question. I love that question. I have to teach Aristotle in a little bit today. So your question has led me to help.
Thank you very much. And we have still a few minutes for one more short question. I see Daniel Vilus raising his hand. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my question is about potential countermeasures, not necessarily technical ones, for AI bots that are active in social media and spreading misinformation. So this problem is quite severe. So the last news, identification of about 50,000 Facebook accounts, some of them stolen, some of them fake, spreading Russian misinformation across Polish society, and also making the impression that the Polish society is against Ukraine and such a discussions, but only 50,000 such a bots out of the question how big amount was the scale. So the users and societies need some kind of remedy, some countermeasure for such a behavior. I think it's very hard to win the discussion with such a bot that may exhaust other users, the human ones, trying even to be against some views, because there will be more and more bots into discussion. And if we will see the comments, likes, etc., we will see rather let's say one viewpoint dominating extremely. Yeah. So that's the problem. Yeah.
Daniel, thank you. Dziękuję. Bardzo dziękuję. That's a very good
Yeah.
question, and a very good comment on this. Again, media has to regulate itself, but when media doesn't, I think government has a responsibility to regulate these, like a place like Facebook, to root out the bots. The bots are doing not doing Facebook any favors. It's actually kind of discrediting Facebook in the long run because we don't know what to trust. And I would say, when Facebook was created, I don't know what, I think its intent was so families and friends could share information with each other. And that's a great function, especially in an era where we spread ourselves out geographically, across the country or across the world. It's a great way for families and friends to stay in contact. I think we would have to encourage Facebook to say, go back to your original intent. Even Instagram, go back to the original intent. And then we go back to Adam's comment, scale back on what you consider the profit motive. Again, social responsibility. I'm a very good capitalist in the sense that I believe capitalism's the best way to create the best goods for people. But even regulation of firms is also responsible of government for the common good. And common good may not be what's popular. So we have to get Facebook and these big firms to root out the bots. The bots aren't to our best interest. I'm not even sure that they're to Facebook's or these firms' best interest, because it makes them less reliable. So I hope that answered your question. But these are very deep philosophical, very good questions from tech. I always view you as like cyber, like very technical people. I'm not a technical person by any means.
Okay, thank you very much.
For your very insightful presentation and answers. Okay, so now we are moving to our next speakers. We have a group of 3 authors: Dr. Dmitry Kasatkin, head of the department, Serhiy Kornus, and Oleksiy Kornus from National University of Life and Environmental Sciences of Ukraine, and the presentation is about using the optical transport network (OTN) to enhance the efficiency of virtualization in the higher education institution networks. So, is there anyone from the group?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you perfectly. The floor is yours. You can share your screen if you want, or just present with your image.
Well, as you said, our topic is use of OTN in the higher education networks. Let me move this away. Yeah, I'm Oleksiy Chernous, and let's start. Higher education institutions, HIs, require high bandwidth, low latency, and reliable networks for virtualization, for example, virtual classrooms or cloud labs. Objective is to improve virtualization efficiency in HI's networks through OTN. Optical transport network, which is also OTN, based on ITU TG709 standard, supports high-speed data transmission. Integrates with dense wavelength division multiplexing, DWDM, for enhanced bandwidth. Optical transport network provides the following benefits: adapts client signals, Ethernet, SDI, IP, 5G, handles multiplexing and switching, adds forward error correction for error correction. Here you can see the graph comparing the bandwidth of a traditional Ethernet network with OTN using DWDM for the same number of fibers. Here you can see topology. Oh no, it's Here's OTN with the WDM integration, multiplex multiple channels on a single fiber, increasing bandwidth up to 8 terabit per second, 80 channels, 100 gigabit per second each. Low latency supports real-time applications, for example, 4K video streaming. Enhanced reliability for long-distance transmission, critical for HI's virtualized services, like video conferencing or cloud computing. Yeah, and here you can, how can I hide this? Anyway, here you can see topology and characteristics of the network construction, which are given on the slide. Here's a solution based on the equipment of the DWDM-Me. Slide contains brief technical specifications. Further details about the equipment can be found on the manufacturer's website, which also given on the slides. Same applies to the next slide. Advantage of OTN for virtualization. High bandwidth up to 7.44 terabit per second with DWDM, ideal for mass online calls. Low latency, supports real-time applications, for example, 4K video at 25 megabits per user. Reliability, forward error correction, redundancy, and through stable performance under high loads. Energy efficiency, 20 to 30% reduction in power consumption. Cost efficiency, more than 20 return of investment over 3 years, suitable for budget-limited HIs. And scalability, flexible traffic management for dynamic HI needs. Summary, OTN enhanced virtualization in HI networks with high bandwidth, reliability, and low latency. Quantitative benefits, reduced latency, OSNR is more than 20 decibel, 30% energy savings. Integration with 6G and artificial intelligence for load prediction and traffic optimization. Also support for alternative and virtual realities in interactive learning environments. And impact is it enables digital transformation of education, ensuring scalable and reliable network infrastructure. Well, that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions to our presenter?
I'm sorry, on questions we'll answer Sergey Chernovs because I'm at work, I have to go.
Thank you. Okay, so if we do not have a presenter, please type your questions on the chat and
sorry, Professor Wojtowicz. Another representative is here. Chernovs is here, and he is ready to answer.
Okay,
so.
great.
Okay.
So please let me know, raise your hand if you have any question to the presenter or to the presenter's team. If not, I have a question because I'm my basic research field is cybersecurity. So obviously my question will be related to that topic. How do you think? What are some major security issues resulting from the OTN deployment in higher education? Are there any specific threats that are like maybe some kind of active attack, like kind of optical signal jamming, or maybe some specific eavesdropping of those optical signals? Do you know some specific threats in our threat model when we deploy OTN in higher education that we should be aware of and include as a new additional threat vector or risk in our threat model?
Sergey Chernovs, please answer. So this, sorry, thank you.
Я буду відповідати на українській мові, бо моя англійська не дуже гарна, ну, скажімо, зовсім не гарна, да? Наскільки я зрозумів, питання стосується безпеки в оптичних лініях і при використанні ОТН. Я правильно зрозумів?
Думаю, що так. Плюс-мінус.
Ну, да, давайте тоді, якщо вам не важко, ви зможете мене там перекласти, я коротенько відповім.
Okay, I will translate the answer. So the question was understood as there are certain threats in optical sphere, and he will understand the way he understood he will explain the way he understood the question. So,
Right.
Ну, давайте, поїхали, спробуємо.
Да, в першу чергу оптичні лінії зв'язку у нас будуть підтверджені фізичному впливу зловмисників. А не стільки
Okay,
буде
firstly,
оптичний сигнал.
these optical lines will be attacked by criminals. So that's the first risk involved. Прошу.
Тому захист ліній, він і захист обладнання – це першочергове те, що використовується в даному випадку, і обмежується доступ до обладнання і до кабелів, до оптичних кабелів.
So the first thing we should do, we should limit the access to equipment and the cable lines. This is our first step in this process.
Крім цього, у нас використовується при побудові кільцева топологія мережі.
We use the circle typology of the network. So in this case, circle one type.
І тому будь-яке втручання, воно розрив кабелю, він не приведе до втрати сигналу. Тобто йде повністю дублювання 1+1.
So we have duplication 1+1. So even it will be some kind of intrusion, it will not shut down the whole system because of this typology.
Да. І крім того, для того, щоб отримати доступ до інформації, яка у нас передається по оптичному сигналу, необхідно встановити аналогічне обладнання, яке зможе розібрати цей сигнал і оптичний, трансформувати в той вигляд, який шахраї зможуть використати для доступу до якоїсь інформації.
So, and the criminals should have exactly the same equipment, so they are able to use this signal, optical signal, and abuse it for their own some criminal purposes.
Ну, це коротенько все.
To put it in a nutshell, that's all I wanted to tell on this issue.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for these answers and for the whole presentation. It was really insightful and interesting and inspiring for our new investment in infrastructure in universities and academia. Do we have any other questions from the audience? I do not see any hands raised, so thanks again. And our third presenting team today is composed of Dr. Tatiana Żwirova, who is Associate Professor in State University of Trade and Economics, and Andriy Vakulik, LLC, Brain Source Corporation, Samsung Technical Advisor in Ukraine. And the topic of this third presentation is a methodological framework for independent RPG development. Do we have Dr. Żwirova or Andriy Vakulik now ready to present?
Okay, should be Vakulik because
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment, please.
I am here, yeah.
Okay, so the floor is yours. You can share your screen or your presentation.
1 second, I share my screen.
We have take your time. We have a lot of time.
Could you see this?
Yeah, we see your presentation perfectly.
Understood. As a person who highly interested in game development exploration at this conference, I would like to slightly step aside from the main topic of the conference and represent our research methodological framework for independent RPG development. Role-playing games or RPG are known as one of the most complex genres and relevant genres in game development. They combine narrative design, progression systems, combat mechanics, all of these in different forms and complexity. These games are usually made by studios with some specialists, designers, writers, artists, programmers, and others. With the rise of accessible tools and artificial intelligence, today more and more single developers can get opportunity to build own project and tell their own story. This freedom and accessible comes with new problems: how to organize the development process, which tools to use, and the most important, how to keep your project originality and avoid similarity with other projects. Research is about finding a methodological framework that helps solo developer build complex RPG in a structured, realistic way. When we look on RPG projects deeper, one key issue become obvious. It's complexity. For large studios, this complexity is managed by driving roles like programmers handle systems, designers build levels, writers craft stories, but independent developers has to combine all these skills alone. So the main research question becomes: how can a solo developer create a technically feasible and original RPG under limited resources? What tools to use and what approach to implement that bring new to the genre without repeating the others? The purpose of this study is to create a structured framework that helps independent developer manage to manage developers to manage the full cycle of RPG creation, from system design and algorithms to storytelling and project organization. To achieve this, the research focused on several objectives, like analyze the algorithmic foundation, especially pseudo-random number generator, which become the backbone of many RPG systems. Studies how to integrate creative storytelling into those systems, so their narrative and mechanics works together. Combining this finding into single workflow that balance technology, creativity, and management is something realistic for a solo developer to apply. To develop this framework, we began with a systematic literature review, studying existing research on randomness in games and role-playing systems. We conducted a comparative analysis of modern tools and engines like Unreal Engine, Unity, Godot, and a couple of others. It's for understanding how technology how technology choice could affect on solo development RPG project. The next step was analyzing case of studies, case of studios that represent independent games like Stardew Valley, RimWorld, and others. This project demonstrate how one or couple of developers can achieve great results with their project. Based on this finding, we designed a conceptual framework that connects algorithmic systems, creative design, and organization strategy into one structured development model. Choosing a game engine is one of the most strategic decisions in any RPG project. It defines how flexible, scalable, and realistic the development process can be. Before selecting among them, we stand between choices: use the existing engine or build one from scratch. Development a custom engine offers total control, optimized performance, and unique technological identity, but it demands a lot of effort, skills, and take years before creating playable content. This is for sure good investment in future project, but not everyone could stand before such challenge. It contrasts using the existing engines allows you to focus more on gameplay and design and to recreate core system like and avoid to recreate a core system like rendering like physics or assets manager. So it's also provide community resource documentation and built-in workflows that significantly reduce development time. When selecting a game engine, developers must consider both technical requirements and creative vision. We consider this engine like Unreal Engine 5, which deliver top-tier graphics and complex systems. It's probably a little complex for solo development, and indie developers often often choose Unity away, but it definitely worth the investment, and Unreal Engine using in small teams or just single developers too as well. So Unity is more accessible and flexible, suitable for hybrid or mobile project. Godot offer an open source and lightweight solution that perfect for fast prototyping and or educational use. CryEngine, it's very extremely graphic rendering, has very extremely realistic rendering, but it's very demanding and quite difficult to handle. Once the engine is chosen, the next step is selecting the right supporting tools for the full production cycle, from modeling to audio to programming and project management. Starting with 3D and visual design, using Blender will be a very good practice and very good idea for modeling and animation because it integrates directly with Unreal Engine and work with it very well, preserving material, skeleton, and animation data. So for texturing, it's good idea, like open source idea, to choose Substance Painter or GIMP for handle 2D elements like UI, icons, and such things. So Unreal connection with Quixel Megascans and high quality photorealistic materials, which is especially valuable for world building. As digital audio workstation, we could use Reaper here because it allow developer to handle with complex sound work. For program workflows, we could use depending on our main goals and preferences. For example, Visual Studio will be a very good choice for C++ Unreal Engine development. It could it have very good integration with engine, have such things like debugging, build management, project navigation. It's ideal when implementing or refactoring complex systems such as AI, inventory logic, or saving mechanism, and others. For lightweight experience, we could use such things like NeoVim. It's extremely flexible and has a lot of different plugins, and fast and convenient navigation could help with project to write a code. For version control, we could use as Git with large file storage, because such a project like games have a very a lot of different things like binary assets like textures, models, audios, and it demands to handle with big files. We could use such tool as Perforce, which handle all these assets and textures, but it could be too complex for indie project by one people, but it very good investment to know for future. So together, these tools cover mostly every part of development, like visual, audio, coding, and management. It forms a complete modular ecosystem that scales perfectly for solo, small team projects. Here we can see the core mechanics that define almost every role-playing games, like character creation, the player identity in the world, progression which consists experience points, level, skills, etc. Combat remains of the represent battle in game and using randomization to simulate uncertainty and skill. Also, we have dialogue and narrative system that bring player to the story, where every choice can shape the story and open new path. Economic and crafting system that tie together exploration, combat and narrative. So together the system form the core architecture of an RPG games. The foundation of many RPG mechanics lies in randomness. So the same principles that come from tabletop and dice systems. Real life shaped in numerous external and internal factors. A skilled person, for example, a skilled person usually succeed in their area of expertise, but tiredness, bad condition, and destruction can still lead to failure. So, the other hand, someone inexperienced at all with will often fails, but yet with right helps, right tools, useful items, or a bit of luck, they might still succeed. So this is not quite new, but a very flexible system that anyone can borrow as basis and turn it in something completely new by using using really good made dice mechanics emulator. For example, I could realize using these systems something new with battle system to get rid of typical health bars and reform it to something more realistic. So a lot of developers explicitly or implicitly use random number generation in their games, especially in RPG games. Therefore, this basis can be easily manipulated, adjusted, or on these basics, developers could invent something completely new. To talk about narrative design, create an RPG from scratch as a solo developer isn't easy, but it's possible. With patience, planning, and right tools, developers can turn an idea to complete world. RPG is not just about completing objectives or watching a movie, it's about living story while creating it. In tabletop system like Dungeons and Dragons, a host of the game dynamically adapt the story to player decision. In a video game, this level of flexibility is impossible because every possible outcomes must be built manually. So create a constant tension between freedom and creates a constant tension between freedom and feasibility. Two-liner story could feels like restrictive, while an overly branching one can become very harder to develop and maintain. And even unnoticed and even be unnoticed by a player. So modern RPG usually go some mixed way. For example, some developers use that things called the illusion of choice. It makes player feel like decision matter, but in the end, the story return the same main path. It's practical approach, very common, but not without criticism. The most sustainable approach, especially for independent developer, it's to design narrative as part of the game system itself. For example, in many RPG, failure is treated like something bad. For big part of player is the reason to reload and start over that completely ruin the story. But if we think about about it, that at missed opportunity, failure can tell a story. For example, missing jump and falling into a cave seems like a failure, but you can discover a hidden area or side quest. That moments feel organic and memorable. To talk about progression system, which one of the most fundamental mechanics of role-playing games and define how the player character evolve, how skills, attributes, and abilities grow in character over time. Historically, one of the most influential models came from Dungeons and Dragons, where the game has full control to adjust rules and progression depending on the situation. But this flexibility is very hard to replicate in video games, where everything must be defined by code and design constraints. So even large studios face this challenge. For example, such project like Baldur's Gate by Larian Studios, they follows D&D rules very closely, but mainly but a lot of tabletop mechanics were avoided, especially high-level abilities that don't translate well into digital environment. For solo developer, these limitations are even more critical. Implementing full like D&D system would be a very complex and time-consuming. That's why many independent developer adopt such model like experience-based progression models, where skills improve naturally through use. For instance, if you use sword, your strength increase. If you craft, your crafting skills improves. This system works mostly in the background. It's easy to manage, feel organic, and reflect real life very good, where skills grow through practice. And it afford to make system original when we can hybrid this model with others. For example, take like core skills can grow automatically, but we can grow new abilities from character in the game or a story event and like this. This progression feel more alive, more connected to narrative. The player isn't just spending points and isn't it he isn't just see the screen with numbers. It's represent real, like representation of real life. Artificial intelligence and procedural generation are transforming the way games are made, but they should be used with care. AI can be an incredible assistant. It can analyze systems, search for bugs, test parameters, or even suggest improvements. It can serve consulting tool helping developers learn faster and detect mistakes earlier. But when AI used directly to generate art, assets, or story content, it often raise ethical, recreative concerns. For example, very incredible projects like Alters, which raise important question and have a very cool concept. Faced accusation of using AI generated art. So even this shows that people don't want to see AI art in project, and people don't take it seriously. So in contrast, procedure generation has already proven its worth in games. When used correctly, it fills empty areas like forest, rocks, or other terrain, and helps build a vast world efficiently. However, there is as well procedural tools must be careful combined with a high amount of handcrafted design to preserve personality and meaning. The best results come from cooperation between system and artist using AI as tools, because it not replace of creativity. So creating an RPG from scratch as a solo developer, it's not easy, but it's possible with patient planning and right tools. The using tools responsible. One person can turn an idea, just simple idea, into a complete world the player can live in.
Thank you very much for this detailed and interesting presentation. Do we have any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand if you have any question. I guess we have a lot of, or some students in our virtual room. Students, this was about gaming, RPG, so that's your topic. There is something on the chat.
It's again in Ukrainian. Yeah. Okay. Let me just step in, if you allow me. Okay. A lot. There is a lot. So it will be step-by-step translation. Okay. So give me a second. The topic, and again, Yegor. So definitely, Professor Wojtowicz, you should think of integrating this guy into your team somehow.
Yeah.
Because he is like the second day in a row, he's on fire. So
Right.
we should use this, force in peaceful for peaceful purposes. Okay. Otherwise, if a person like with Hitler, if Hitler was made an artist, maybe we would never have the World War II. You know the story, yeah, about his paintings. Okay, what is the future of AI and vibe coding in RPG game development? Is there a need to create new design patterns specifically for this approach? How difficult is to combine AI-generated content with what has been created by humans, and how realistic is the scenario-based development approach, where a script serves as the context that the AI then tries to implement in one way or another? Other questions I think we would skip, because we can have a discussion for hours. I think Yegor is also a gamer, so okay.
I could
the question
answer
is,
in general about this question, that we now we have very powerful tools for development to about coding. It's very helpful as a tool, but as my observation and my research, I noticed that people people excited about tools. They're excited about using these tools, but as my observation, they people not very good accept IE art. For example, in project like games, it have very wide usability in dialogue system, for example, but a lot of people see in AI generated content less creativity, and it's understandable. So it's very convenient tool, but it could lead that people just will be avoid the project because they don't feel like soul in project.
Okay, thank you. I have also one question. How do you think, is it possible or is it feasible? Does it make sense to employ your framework or these engines to cybersecurity domain? I mean, training. I mean, like in case of phishing attacks, social engineering attacks, maybe in case where users are exposed to some malicious actors and they must be trained, be used to proper behavior, to some skepticism against some spoofing or other attempts to get their credentials. How do you think, is it possible, is it sensible to employ your framework or these engines to train people in cybersecurity?
For it's 1 second. If we choose games, are very have very wide subject, very wide. Games have very wide subject. It could be about everything, particularly in some project. Developers can use of knowledge different specialists like architectures, like writers, like historian people, like cybersecurity as well. We have a couple of good projects about cybersecurity and learn cybersecurity. I used to interested in such project like games which learn to use to learn cybersecurity. My answer a little bit messy, but I suppose you get a point.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, you mentioned the pseudo-random number generators, right? You are using in your framework. And in cryptography, it is very important, you know, to have solid random numbers, really true random. We call it secure randomness, because if the attacker somehow can guess what would be the next result of the random number generation function, well, he could predict what would be the secret, what would be the private key, the session key, or password. So it is very important in cryptography and cybersecurity. And do you see similar things in game development? Why are there any attacks on pseudo-random generated numbers, or this is important for you for other reasons? What are the reasons why you stress this PRNG feature?
I understood your question. It will be quite challenging to answer this because the cybersecurity thematic is quite obscure for me. So that's I represent of one of my project in game development area. So I think in general, as I can observate, I can say that yes, it could use because these models improving and these models try to represent as we can bring true random realization in computing variation. These models they simulate this true randomness, and they improving from time to time. So I think it could use this in cybersecurity as well. But as I said, it's not quite my specialization, so it's a little bit obscure for me to answer.
Okay, and we have also a question on the chat. Can procedural generation replace manual generation? As Kingdom Come showed, which uses manual generation, people appreciate when every piece of open world built manually. Should future developers rely on procedural generation and then refine the generated world manually?
1 second. Can I see the question? Or
The last
could
one.
you repeat the question?
Can procedural generation replace manual generation?
I think yes, because in time, yes, but it's it's not about. I think it's not about replace. It's about combination. So we procedural generation is very important in large projects, but the manual generation should be used much more because it represent more people view. So I think that manual part must be uses entirely, but it could be slightly increased by automation generation in such object like terrain, like trees, or something like that.
Thank you very much. I see that we have still some questions on chat, but because we are out of time, if you may please answer them on the chat, and we will now move. Thank you again for your interesting and insightful presentation. And now we will move to the final presentation in this panel, which is authored by Dr. Olga Pawlowa and Andrzej Kuzmin from Khmelnytsky National University in Ukraine. The title of the presentation is The Concept of Information System for Recognition Fire and at the Landfill. Andrzej, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Are you viewing the presentation in full screen?
Yes, we see it perfectly and we hear you.
Yes, thank you. Hello, dear participants of the conference. My name is Andrzej Kuzmin, and I'm a PhD student of Khmelnytsky National University, majoring in information system and technologies. Let me introduce the concept of information system for recognition fire at the landfill. I live and study in Khmelnytsky. The slide presents Khmelnytsky solid waste landfill, which is located on the territory of the city. This photo were taken by us as a part of the tour organized by the Khmelnytsky Smart Environment Office. We visited the municipal landfill with our supervisor and other students who are interested in this problem. Admittedly, its scale is impressive. Therefore, the relevance of our research lies in the development of an information system based on computer vision, which will help to detect a fire at a landfill and prevent the spread of fire as well as its terrible consequences. We decided to conduct a research in this direction because we searched through a lot of sources and found many terrible cases of landfill. Here are some of them. In May 2016, there was a fire at the Hribovich landfill near Lviv. People died due to a debris slide. The work of the landfill was stopped. The garbage from Lviv started to be taken to other landfill in the region of Ukraine. Unfortunately, these cases are not rare in Ukraine because of the accumulation of methane due to the decomposition of waste and due to the increase in the average annual air temperature, global warming, fires often occur and in landfills. They are dangerous because they spread quickly, occupying a large area, emit harmful and poisonous substances into the air, and are difficult to extinguish. This slide shows putting off a fire at a landfill near Rivne. The fire covered an area of more than 300 square meters. To eliminate the fire, 6 rescue tanks, a tactical robot, 3 local fire brigades, and equipment serving the landfill were involved. Also, during the fire at the landfill, hazardous gases and compounds that pollute air, drones, and water are being released. A dangerous phenomenon of these objects is leachate, a liquid with a complex chemical composition with a pronounced unpleasant smell of biogas, which areas as a result of the accumulation of atmospheric precipitation in the landfill and concentrates within its solvents is extremely poisonous. To solve the problem of landfill fire detection, we propose an information system that consists of 3 subsystems: surveillance subsystems that include CCTV cameras at the landfill areas, image recognition subsystem that uses the pre-trained neural network model, and alarm signal subsystem that provides conclusion about fire or the absence of fire at the landfill. The architecture of the proposed system is shown on the slide. For the operation of the proposed system, a method of early landfill fire detection was developed. It was presented in more detail in our previous works. The method consists of 6 steps: preparation of training of a neural network model on a data set with smoke and fire classification, validation of a neural network model on real images of fire at landfill, automatic detection of fire and landfill in videos from outdoor surveillance camera, and saving images using the existing ULV8 model using Python program. manual verification of recognition results, separation of cases of false detection of fire or smoke, evaluation of the automatic detection quality, manual labeling of incorrectly processed images. In the case of studies, the experiments with YOLWIT as neural network were conducted. For the model training, a method of supervised learning was used. It consists in the fact that the algorithm is trained on a pre-classified data set, which simplifies the search for objects for recognition and increases the accuracy of recognition. Training of the model was conducted on RoboFlow dataset with two classes, smoke and fire, using Python programming language and Google Colab environment. An example of images classification of the above mentioned dataset and examples of the images for training are displayed on the slide. YOLWIT as model was chosen as it has optimal parameters for solving these tasks. The result of the algorithm operation on the subject of smoke and fire detecting on real images of landfill fire taken from the internet are presented on the slide. However, we can see that the smoke and fire on these images is significant. Further steps in our research will be devoted to training it at the images with the smaller amount of smoke and trying it to distinguish smoke from the fog and other weather conditions that can influence on a quality of the recognition. In case of study, the cases of fires at municipal solid landfills were considered. We analyzed the causes and the consequences of the fire cases in Ukraine for the last 20 years and highlight that the most frequently causes of the fire were the methane accumulation and spontaneous combustion due to high temperature and the presence of flammable substances in landfills. As for the consequences, in addition to the release of harmful and toxic substances into the atmosphere, soil, and water bodies, fire in landfills have claimed human lives. Therefore, it is advisable to look for solution using modern information technologies, the Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence for the early detection of spontaneous combustion in landfills. After all, the earlier the problem is detected, the easier it is to overcome it. The paper proposed the concept of an information system of for detecting fire in landfill using computer vision and highlights the importance of AI-driven solution in enhancing fire detection and prevention, contributing to improved safety measure in high-risk environments. Future work of the authors should focus on integration additional sensors, data, improving model robustness, and deploying the system in diverse waste management facilities to validate its effectiveness in real-world applications. So also the authors plan to mitigate the errors occurred during the experiments. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Andriy. It was interesting and also a very, I would say, could be useful and could increase the both security of such facilities and safety procedures. So big potential in this research. I see a question from Daniel Vilus. So please, Daniel, ask your question.
Okay, I have a few interrelated questions. So maybe the first more general, could you please tell us what is accuracy of this system? What's false positive rates? What's false negative rates? How many times some fire was not detected, and how many times there was a false alarm? Did you make any calculations about this? Any statistics?
Okay, I understand the question. Yes, I calculate, but I can't. No, in this presentation, we don't publish accuracy or false rate numbers yet. This presentation covers the concept and quality of images tests. So statistically solid evaluation is planned for the next phase with labeled test set and video pilot maybe.
Okay, and the next question is about distinguishing fire, so especially smoke, yes, smoke from fog and clouds. So what are results in this case in your system? Because I've seen one of the images. I thought, okay, there are clouds over landfill. So as a human, I was misguided by this photo. So I wonder how good AI can be in distinguishing it. And maybe already the second question concerning this way of distinguishing it. So how did you train the model to distinguish it? Did you address this specific issue in your research?
Yes, that's a real challenge. The systems sometimes confuse smoke with clouds or fog, especially in complex weather conditions. Right now, we trained it mainly on visual symbols with clear differences, but the next stage will include more diverse data, especially smoke, fog, and cloud symbols to help the model learn their distinctions.
Okay. I've already. Can I ask one more question?
The last one, please.
Yes, the last one. I got it already. Did you consider extending your system by some IoT-related solution like temperature sensors, like smoke detectors, etc. So to rely not only on images, but also on some other data collected in the real time from landfill environment.
One second. Yes, we considered that. Um, maybe adding IoT components like temperature or smoke sensors could make detection more reliable. It would combine visual data with real-time environmental readings to confirm fire to confirm fire events to reduce false alarms.
Okay, and there's one remark. There are some devices like for example Kinect that also got infrared sensors. So you may train models not only on visual image but also of this temperature scale or also other frequencies of electromagnetic fields. Yeah. So thank you for answer. It's very interesting presentation and research.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the presentation and thank you for the discussion. And it closes this panel. And now we have the last panel, which will be moderated by Daniel. So I will pass the floor to Daniel. Daniel in the new role of the moderator, not the discutant. And so the floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you for introduction. I have a pleasure to moderate the fourth panel during this year conference. So maybe to not make introduction too long, I would like to invite the first speakers, so Dr. Walentyna Juskowicz-Żukowska, Mr. Oleg Bogut, methods of preventing information leaks caused by the usage of artificial intelligence agent systems.
Okay. Let me check whether they're available right now. So this, as I already warned you about electricity shortages. Okay, maybe another presenter. Could you please pass the floor to another presenter while I'm checking with them whether they are able to present? Okay.
Okay, we may reschedule the order of presentations. So the next presentation is by Dr. Natalia Kotenko and Mr. Danis Zaidun, a practical evaluation of modern STT models for Ukrainian language.
Yeah, I'm here. Give me a second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's very clear. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Topic of my research, as it was said, a practical evaluation of modern STT models for Ukrainian language. What is STT? STT, speech-to-text, is the process of converting spoken words into text transcription. These technologies are deeply integrated in our daily lives and greatly simplify human integration with both devices and audio content. Where do we encounter STT every day? It's in voice assistants, understanding user commands, Siri, Google Assistants, in automatic subtitles, transcription on platform like YouTube, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, smart homes, controlling devices using voice commands, in car systems, hands-free interaction while driving. Importance in daily life and professional fields is used in business, education, law, journalism, and what very important, enables people with hearing impairments to perceive spoken information through real-time captions. Speech recognition was undergone a long path of development since the 1915s, when systems could recognize only a few words, only numbers 1 to 9. Having gone through numerous methods and approaches, today these technologies demonstrate remarkable accuracy. For example, on GitHub, a repository of OpenAI neural speech recognition model Whisper, you can find results of its largest model evaluated using VER, word error rate, and CER, character error rate matrix on Common Voice 15 and FLIR datasets, where English achieves error rates of 9.3 and 4.1%, and Ukrainian reach 13.6 and 6.4 respectively.
Excuse me, please remember to switch slides. You are still on the title one.
Oh, sorry. I make a full screen and maybe it stopped. Maybe.
Yeah, you are sharing the PowerPoint in edit mode, not in presentation mode. Probably
Okay.
that's why you are switching on the presentation mode and we are seeing the edit mode.
What if I share not presentation and share screen? If it's now on a full screen, can you say?
No, now it is in
No.
edit mode, but we see the slide number 3, so you could just change it here.
Okay. And the problem with standard datasets such as Common Voice or FLIRs is that they mostly contain clean recordings, literary speech without background noises. The worst issue there might be is the low quality of volunteer microphones. In reality, people don't always speak perfectly, and recordings conditions are often far from studio quality. Therefore, Ukrainian STT still faces several key challenges. Background noises, street traffic, music, dialects, territorial oral forms of the language make it difficult to transcribe. Lack of large datasets. The Ukrainian language has far fewer open and well-annotated data corpora compared to English. Our goal was to study the performance of different STT systems in various conditions, because the usability of such system directly depends on their accuracy in any condition, especially those close to reality and not laboratory ones. Test how different models handle realistic complex audio recordings. Compare the accuracy, VR, CR of local and cloud-based models in this condition. Evaluate the performance of local models. Provide practical recommendation for choosing an STT system for Ukrainian language. For this study, we selected 5 popular families of models that support Ukrainian language, dividing them into 2 groups: local models, OpenAI Whisper, universal model tested in 6 configurations to compare speed and accuracy: Whisper Tiny, Whisper Base, Small, Medium, Large, Turbo, WOSC, an offline speech recognition toolkit that can even run on a Raspberry Pi. We use the largest Ukrainian model, WOSC model UKV3 graph. Cloud services provided by major cloud platforms of managed services: Amazon Transcribe, cloud service from AVC, Azure AI Speech, cloud service from Microsoft, Google Speech to Text cloud service from Google, How did we evaluate? Accuracy, word error rate at the word level, CR error rate at the character level, performance, total time required for full transcription, GPU utilization, video memory usage. What did we test? 5 scenarios: loud music, an interview with loud background music, the train station, an announcement near loud train, noisy factory, a report from factory combining strong industrial noise, speech impediment, low audio quality, surjik, code switch, and another dialect, a video with example of Polynesian dialect, and surjik, a video with pronounced non-standard language. Scenario first, interview with loud background music, best accuracy showed Amazon Transcribe with 15.4 VAR. Best local model was Whisper Turbo with 18 VAR, showing an excellent balance between accuracy and resource usage. As anomaly, Whisper Medium turned out to be significantly more accurate than the much larger Whisper Large V3. The large model proved highly sensitive to background noise and underperformed across all metrics: lower accuracy, bigger processing time, failure cases, Google CT, WASC, and smaller Whisper version as tiny and base completely failed to handle the task. Scenario 2, train station, extremely difficult to condition, a mix of loudspeaker announcement and strong background noise from a train. This proved to be the most challenging scenario. Most models produced VR levels exceeding 70 to 90%, indicating a near totally inability to recognize speech under such condition. The best was Amazon Transcribe, performed significantly better than others, though it still made 30 error rate. Scenario 3, noisy factory, complex scenario combining multiple difficulties: speech against strong industrial background noise, presence of speaker with speech impairment, low quality audio from video call recordings, telephone recording with intense background human. Best accuracy showed Whisper Turbo achieved the best overall results with 9.8% VR. Cloud services, Amazon Transcribe again delivered a solid performance, significantly outperforming Azure and Google. Whisper Medium once again proved to be the golden mean, showing gold balance between accuracy and resource usage with 16.8 word error rate. Scenario 4, dialect, complicated transcription due to example of self-system dialect, diphthongs, softening, non-standard word forms, and the speech of native speaker of this dialect. Unlike previous tests, this audio contained no background noise, making it test of linguistic than acoustic complexity. The best local Whisper Large V3 achieved the highest accuracy, though with an extremely long processing time. Best cloud, again, Amazon Transcribe. Key takeaway, the absence of noise allowed Whisper Large V3 to fully realize its potential, confirming that the model is highly sensitive to background noise. Balanced performance, Amazon Transcribe and Whisper Medium again provided a reasonable trade-off between accuracy and efficiency. transcribing speech with pronounced non-standard language, Whisper V3, and Whisper Turbo achieved the highest accuracy among local models. Best Cloud Azure AI speech performed better than Amazon Transcribe with 28.8 word error rate versus 31.8 error rate. This was the only scenario in which Azure clearly outperformed Amazon. Average result, Whisper Small and Medium, showed average performance. Google STT once again demonstrated the worst accuracy. General conclusion: there are not single best solution. The optimal model choice depends on specific condition, noise level, presence of dialect or surgic, and performance requirements. Bigger isn't always better. The largest model, Whisper Large V3, proved to be highly sensitive to background noise. In noisy scenarios, it was outperformed by smaller version, Medium, Whisper Medium. Large V3 reach its full potential only in clean condition. Best cloud services Amazon Transcribe consistently delivered the high accuracy in most scenarios: music, station, factory. Exception Azure AI speech performed better in handling surgical speech. Best balance local models was Whisper Medium and Whisper Turbo, demonstrates the best combination of accuracy, speed, and resource efficiency. Models to avoid for critical tasks and complex condition is Google STT, WOSC, and the tiny and base version of Whisper should be avoided as they showed the lowest accuracy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, so maybe my question, we didn't see all your slides. If you got some slides with results,
Always?
yes.
Oh, you should
So
say this.
yeah,
I
so
have graphics and tables.
so yeah, maybe please show a table with results. Maybe this will inspire questions. Yeah, could you please share this presentation once again?
Okay, I'll try. Give me a second. It was like that.
Okay, so maybe show some research
It's a scenario
results.
first with loud music.
Okay.
In background, with scenario 2, mix loudspeaker announcement and strong background noise from a train. You can see on this graphic
Maybe
VR.
what's interesting, but the conclusion is that the background worsened results, so the recognition was less accurate. Yes, as I got it. Yeah, but also
bigger version of Whisper not always good, because he very sensitive to background noise. In noisy condition, it's better his smaller version as Medium and Turbo, or small. Best cloud service was Amazon, as we and models to avoid when which every time showed the lowest accuracy is Google CT WOSC, tiny base version of Whisper. You can see that how big Proceeding time with whisper large, always much bigger than all other version. So
my question is also about pre-training. Were all the models pre-trained by the technology supplier, or you tried to train models by yourself?
no, it's a basic version, but you can fine-tune it in way you want. If you need improve models performance in noisy environments, you can make data sets with noisy environments and fine-tune it with this condition. It helps the model learn how to filter out familiar noise patterns and focus on the voice. So if it's language or accents, you also can do this. You should find the recordings with that condition and make listen that and create a perfect word for word transcription. And then in a technical standpoint, they are already ready to use libraries for this task for fine-tuning, but we using the basic versions. We are not fine-tuning that.
Okay. Also, you have presented that Whisper Large got or required a lot of computational power, a lot of
Yes,
time,
very
and a
much.
lot of resources. And the question is, was the results much better than for other models that are not so computationally exhaustive? Yeah. So how
Yeah.
to find some trade-off, some solution that's a practical choice. So it's good enough, but also do not require a lot of computational resources. Could you recommend some models?
No, you should just try that and show balance in that condition you need. If you need very big accuracy in a clean condition, you can use Whisper Large. But if you don't need that, small models like Tiny and Base fast and efficient, but no, not Tiny and Base, small and medium has a balance. Has a balance between accuracy and speed. It's faster than large, 2-4 times, even in clean condition. So
Okay.
like that.
Thank you for your answer. Is there maybe one question from the audience? Anybody? We wouldn't like to dominate this discussion. Okay, I can't see any hands
Sorry for the
risen.
problem with presentation.
Technical issues happens, so don't. It may happen, yeah. So not a big deal. Okay, so thank you for your presentation. So if there are no more questions, I would like to proceed to the next presentation. So I would like to invite Dr. Alexander Karchenko and Ms. Anastasia Liachera. Presentation title: Artificial Intelligence, Historical Overview, Tools and Practical Applications. Hello. I don't hear you clearly. Let's check your. It's better. It's much better. Could you tune up your microphone a little bit?
Just 1 second. And now?
Okay, please tell us something.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I will try to tune up my my speakers once again.
No. Everything is cool with the
Oh.
speakers. It's on her side. So
Yeah.
we have the first presenters. Maybe while she's figuring out what's wrong with the microphone, we can pass to Oleg Bogut. So I see him among this. Okay, not to waste the time. So what do you say?
Yeah.
Dr. Philip?
Sometimes there's a manual tuning a device built into device, not in the operating system. So maybe that's a good point to check it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like to invite Ms. Valentyna Juskowicz-Żukowska and Mr. Oleg Bogut, methods of preventing information leaks caused by the usage of artificial intelligence agent systems.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and big sorry for delay because I had some troubles with my local installation because I just updated operating system on my MacBook and I had some troubles with access after that. But anyway, let me share my screen. Just a moment. Okay. Just a moment. Again, I will add Zoom to permission layer. Yeah. Just a moment. I will rejoin the conference. Just in couple of seconds. Need to apply security rules for sharing the screen. Just a moment.
Okay.
It happens, just. And it's nice to check how IT experts deal with simple issues that regular users can solve in several seconds. I don't know about you, Dr. Vilish, but I have issues with master students, IT students, writing their thesis in Word. So they can code, but they don't know how to use Word. So it's just
Okay.
blows my mind.
There are better text editors than Word, yeah, like LaTeX, Overleaf, etc.
Okay. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see. Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I will start. So my speech today is about the method of preventing information leaks in the AI agentic systems. And currently today we facing the probably the widest usage of AI for all the time, and each person is using the AI on the daily basis. Just a couple of years ago, it was like something exotic from the specific areas of the IT industry, but currently it's everywhere on the mobile phones, on the laptops, on the chats on the website, and it's everywhere. And the most usable thing is AI agentic approach that is widely used and actively involved into the development processes. And this wide usage actually provides a lot of issues and the challenges, because multi-agent systems with decentralized control create leak vectors beyond traditional security perimeters. And here we can determine 6 major threat categories. It's a prompt injections, when the person could inject something through the prompts. It's insecure output handling. It's a tool-based exfiltration, like exfiltration of the sensitive data through the API or browser or through the files. It's inter-agent collisions when the multiple agents communicate each other and provide the leakage on this layer. And again, more traditional is the memory and the history leaks and the training data memorization when something sensitive is getting to the data on the permanent basis. And by the way, any person who is able to access this data set could access the sensitive documentation and sensitive data. So traditional DLP instructions are insufficient for dynamic agent chains because dynamic agent chains, they are changing on fly their behavior, and the traditional methods are not working here. And what is the architecture model here? First of all, we can take care about the hierarchical agent composition. So what does it mean? It means that we can make the orchestration of the core with the planning and routing. So it's like a orchestrated agentic approach with the agentic chains or agentic vectors and so on. We can use role-based agents like a domain, tool, oversight, and redactor, and so on. And again, we can use approach with the shared services for knowledge storage. So not just use all the access, but we can use just only some specific shared services. And the solution for this architecture is just building the trust zone segmentation. So we are building the perimeters and the orchestration plan. We isolate in tool environments in the separate containers or virtual machines. We can use internal storage and the specific secrets management based on the open and private keys for division of the access layers. And again, on the network layer, we could use external domains and partner networks. So it's also additional parameters for building this trust zone segmentation and dividing. And the main approach that could solve the problem in a general way is like a defense in depth concept. The idea of this concept is a multi-layer protection. Instead of just building the perimeters, we can build separate perimeters inside the separate layers. So by this way, first of all, we can define the access control system. We can define the levels of isolations that could be separate for different layer. We can provide different type of the data protections and different type of policies for separate layer. And again, the different layers could be orchestrated to be communicated in the different way from layer to layer, and it provides additional level of security and trustment for this. Again, for correct implementation of this feature, we need to have the good monitoring to make sure that everything works smoothly, the data flows are under the view, that we have audit logs, we have the monitoring integrations. And by this way, when all this multi-layer approach is working fine, we can be sure that the leakage, at least if it happens, yeah, it could be isolated under the component on the layer, or at least on the layer or moving from layer to layer. But the result, we will not have a leakage that is going outside. So this is the main approach, that multi-layer protection framework works better than the single layer, but divided on the separate perimeters, or even when we have just perimeter inside the perimeter. Multi-layer is with the perimeters works better here. And just a few words about the results. when we have this multi-layer approach, the test shows the leak frequency reduction up to 67%. Honestly, it's like 66.5 or something like that, but around 67%. Disclosure volume reduction around the 72%, and the time improvements reduces from the 18 seconds up to 6 seconds. And it means that on the real practice for the production system, it works more performant, but at the same time, we have decreasing on the data leakage and the better results for disclosure volume reductions. And this approach is good for the real business when the performance is critical. And from other side, when we have the data that could be divided by the different roles, could be used by the different departments, for example, financial data, or some other types of the sensitive data that could be used on the specific persons, but should not be available to other department or other type of users that could accidentally access the data. And again, the main benefit of this approach that that this architecture could be applied using the traditional way of orchestration from the simplest ways. For example, this could be organized with NA10 orchestrator, or even with a custom orchestration based on the length graph, length chain, or length Smith agentic frameworks. So this is the general approach that could be implemented in real cases. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to add something?
Yeah, it was just a conclusion. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from audience? I can see nothing on chat, nobody raising hand. Okay, so I will ask the first question. I would like to ask about computational efficiency after employing your approach. Does it require a company to invest in any hardware updates? Did you research how much more resources is required, or maybe less resources? What are effects on internal infrastructure? Is this your mechanism requiring more computational power or maybe less? Yeah, how expensive it is in terms of using hardware?
Real good question. So like a real practice, yeah, because AI is on fly for everywhere. Actually, this architecture does not provide significant increasing of the computational resources, because it's a kind of orchestration instead of just building something from scratch. Yeah. So if the company already using agentic approach, for example, for smart chats, or for building agents that is automate something inside the company, yeah. Only the way to implement this multi-layering is a way to organize the orchestration. Yeah, it does not require additional computational resources, but requires DevOps engineers to build this, yeah, and to maintain. So the maintenance naturally will use more time to maintain, but probably up to 10% or 15% of time more. But in case of decreasing the probability of the leakage, it looks reasonable, because in case of, for example, of the financial information, the leakage could cost $100,000 or millions and so on. It could be really costly. It's much more than just 10 hours more for DevOps engineers, like $500 or so. And it looks like a reasonable way.
Yeah, okay. So as far as I understand, so the benefits for business processes are much, much higher than extra overhead, so extra maintenance fees, costs, etc. Okay. Also, as I okay, there is a question from Igor. Thank you. The question is, I would like to ask, how can ordinary users protect themselves from these problems, or indie developers? How will this affect and usability of application?
Good question. For the indie developers or for the regular ordinary users, this methodology is not so useful. Why it's so? Because it's oriented mainly on the enterprises. When we have the enterprise organization that divided by the departments, that when the organization itself has some secrets or sensitives that could be leaked. In this case, this architectural approach makes sense. But for the ordinary users, the simpler architectures could be useful. For example, using additional agents that will filter input and output, the sanitization perimeters, and so on. These simpler ways, simpler approaches are already built in, for example, into N8N or other agentic frameworks, and could be used out of the box. But this one is oriented on the enterprises. For the regular users, for me, it looks too complicated here. But for enterprises, it makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
For your answer. Is there any question from audience? You can see raised hand. So I think maybe one question, maybe last from my side. So there is a lot of effort to a secure system from the a technical point of view. However, still we should remember about the human factor. So maybe to extend your presentation, could you please recommend some maybe business rules, some good practices that employees should respect, especially maybe when designing those AI agents, training them, etc.
Actually, a really good question. Yeah. And internally, when in the company, because I'm working as the CTO for the last 4 years, and this part of interaction between the users and the client companies is also under my cover. This part is really important because even if we design the technical layer, the human mistake is the worst case because we cannot be sure what user really can do. It's unexpected in the real cases. But what we can do here, so first of all, the bottlenecks that could be solved here is using the filtration of the user input. So we can use, specifically, we can use the specific agents that will filter out user input and user output. We can use like a golden data sets. It's a term that not understand, but a term that describes the ideal set of data that will be used to compare with the real data set and to clean up if something is going into there and probably should be moved outside. For example, if something sensitive somehow already in the vector database, using the golden data set that contains these patterns, if we see that something compares, we can automatically delete this, or we can highlight to the administrator to take a look and to remove. And additional cases, when we have the different type of users, again, we can use orchestrated chains of how to say, technical editors, virtual editors, yeah, who are used to check the input data that is used for self-training, because modern systems are training on the user input data, yeah, and based on the different sets of validators, we can be sure that data for training will be smoothly cleared, and we will prevent a case that something will go outside or even go inside the knowledge base. Because if something is in the knowledge base, it's a big problem, because we cannot be sure how much users will see before we will remove it out there. And even if we will remove something from the vector database, probably we can break the relations into the vector database, because it works differently to traditional relational database. It's not a table, it's a number of vectors. It's based on the tensor logic. And if we removing something from there, definitely we are breaking relations. And it's unexpected, and it will break the quality of the output. So the main case, if we prevent, then something is going into the vector database instead of removing from there. It's a general approach.
Yes, thank you for very, very clear explanation and for very interesting presentation. I see no more questions, so I would like to invite the third presenters. So Dr. Alexander Karchenko and Ms. Anastasia Liahera, presentation Artificial Intelligence, Historical Overview, Tools and Practical Application.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me better now.
Yeah, it's very, very good quality right now.
Great,
The floor is
great.
yours.
Okay, thank you. 1 second. So now you can see my screen, like full screen,
Yes,
first,
it's a
second
full
slide.
screen. Yes.
Great, great. So artificial intelligence, historical overview, tools, and practical applications. The relevance of artificial intelligence is continually growing as the technology spreads and becomes increasingly necessary for solving various problems. While methods for creating AI have existed for quite some time, not only have the ways of using and integrating it diversified, but the tools for creating this technology also have also evolved. Brief historical overview. Leonardo Torres Queda created the world's first machine capable of playing an endgame of chess autonomously, making an early milestone in artificial intelligence. Computer ABC recognized as the first automatic electronic digital computer. It pioneered core modern concepts like binary arithmetic and electronic switching, yet it was not programmable. The perceptron, one of the first artificial neural network models, it was a fundamental algorithm for learning and performing basic binary classification, serving as a blueprint for modern deep learning. Modern examples of the use of artificial intelligence. Conversational AI, Siri and Amazon Alexa, voice-activated assistants that use natural language processing to understand spoken requests and execute tasks. Netflix and YouTube use advanced AI to analyze user behavior, personalize content feeds, and predict what you want to watch next, driving engagement for streaming media. Autopilot in transport allows vehicles to monitor their environment, make real-time decisions, and perform tasks like steering and braking, significantly enhancing safety and efficiency. Translational apps and chatbots Apps like Google Translate break language barriers instantly, while chatbots automate customer service and provide information using learned conversational patterns. GPT, a cutting-edge AI architecture that can generate human-quality text code and creative content on a massive scale, revolutionizing fields from writing to software development. The first programming languages of artificial intelligence. Prolog, a programming logic, was one of the first and most successful programming languages, specifically designed for artificial intelligence. It uses a declarative approach, meaning programmers define facts and rules. Prolog excels at clearly defining complex relationship and knowledge structures, which was crucial for early AI systems. It was the primary tool for building early expert systems and applications in natural language processing, driving significant research breakthrough in the 1980s. Prolog allowed AI development to focus on what the system should know, rather than strictly defining how to process every step. Prolog example, modeling educational knowledge. This program visually demonstrates the core principle of logic programming by modeling educational structures and skills. We use Prolog to define facts and relationships, such as academic hierarchy and associated skills. When application runs, Prolog powerful inference engine automatically searches for the knowledge base to deduce and retrieve all relevant skills for high-level query like higher education. This makes Prolog an excellent tool for expert systems and symbolic AI, as it excels at structuring knowledge and performing automatic logical deduction. Another programming language that, along with Prolog, pioneered artificial intelligence programming is Lisp. Like Prolog, this language was developed to solve the problem of artificial intelligence development. Lisp was created in 1958 by John McCarthy for symbolic computation. The key strengths of Lisp are flexibility and extensibility, ideal for quickly building complex, customized algorithms and environments. The key strengths of Prolog inference and deduction, ideal for building knowledge-based and rule-driven systems like expert systems. Lisp pioneered ideas like automatic garbage collection and the use of unified list structure for both code and data. Prolog, based on first-order logic using backtracking and unification to automatically solve queries and prove theorems. Programming languages in modern AI. Python, due to simple syntax, vast ecosystem, and rapid prototyping speed. Excellent for research and deployment. Java, due to portability, strong security, and high performance in large complex applications. C++, due to maximum speed and memory efficiency, essential for low latency systems, game AI, and integrating machine learning models directly into hardware. R, due to excellent statistical packages, ideal for data-intensive research and academic AI modeling. Decision trees are among the most widely used machine learning methods, often employed for classification and regression tasks. A decision tree has three main parts. It starts at the root node, the initial data split. Data moves through internal nodes, which are decision decision points containing a test or condition on a feature. Branches represent test outcomes. The process ends at the leaf nodes, which gives the final prediction. Every pass from root to leaf is a complete decision rule. The decision tree models provides a working example of rule-based decision automation. The tree clearly visualizes the logic for creating instructional task based on its path on subject characteristics and available classroom tools. This structure directly maps the decision-making rules implemented within the company's C# console application, demonstrating how complex real-world logic is formalized and deployed using decision trees. Conclusions. We have reviewed the historical path of artificial intelligence, highlighting the fundamental work of its pioneers. Our analysis demonstrates how the tools for AI development, particularly programming languages, evolved over time. Most importantly, we presented practical proof of concept cases using Prolog and C# to build simple expert system and decision trees, which offer a valuable framework for monitoring methodological support within a higher educational institution. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for interesting presentation. Are there any questions? Okay, I can see on chat, and maybe somebody from audience. Okay, I see Professor Wójtowicz, so please go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. Interesting history of AI. And my question is related to the history of AI. How do you think, is there anything we can conclude from the history of AI for the future?
Yeah, for example, Prolog was created. One second. Yeah, you can hear me. Yes, thank you for your question. Firstly, Prolog itself was created a bit maybe earlier that it was useful. So for a long time, it was like theoretical, like just theoretical thing, but not something we can use in practice. So yeah, for example, Prolog, sometimes we can use Prolog even now, but also we have some like more like maybe easy to use and with better interface instruments. But yeah, I guess that Prolog is one of the historical example how technology could be created much earlier than it can be used and implemented practically, and we can still use this technology and continue developing our AI systems in the future.
Thanks. And do you have any thoughts about, also from the history, about the AI winters and AI summers? You know, there was some huge hype around AI, like in 70s, and there was AI winter, so nobody cared no more about AI. And there was again AI summer, and again AI winter. Now we have obviously summer, but do you have any predictions how long it will last?
I guess now it will last for a long time because we have like artificial intelligence now. It's part of our life in almost every sphere, so it will be impossible to eliminate this technology now. Like it used to be not permanent technology because like it was not very useful in many spheres, and it was summer was caused by some great inventions and which caused great interest in this field. But now it's like it's not just some theoretical thing, some new technology which is just interesting for some small amount of people. It just almost every person who more or less know about computers can use AI, and it's simpler than Google's and every other application. You can just ask, and you can receive result immediately for coding, for some practical recommendations. So I don't think that it's gonna be winter again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe I can contribute a little bit to this question. Please remember that many models like OpenAI large language models requires a lot of funds. So Microsoft spending billions of dollars for this technology to run. And the question is if some business reasons will not affect these systems. And one fact, OpenAI is estimating losses aiming about $14 billion this year. So they are not profitable. Their losses are really huge. So we may be a little bit afraid, because of those financial issues. So that maybe there's other the aspect than technical one, business one. However, we've got next question on chat. So Igor is asking, how can humanity protect itself from data monopolization by large companies? How to protect itself from possible propaganda, especially for people who trust search engine LLM? Not only law, but something else. Yes, so what solutions, but other than legal ones?
In this situation, I guess just critical thinking. So if you can diversify what is true, what is not, it's hard now because sometimes when you can see some videos, it's even now sometimes it could be hard for some people to understand is this video true or not. In the future, I guess it will be even harder, but still, firstly, I think we have to just understand ourselves, is it real, and double check from different resources. So I guess it's only way it was before artificial intelligence, and it's still the same way. So just double check in different resources. So I don't see any other options.
There's also an additional question from Igor. Do we need some coalition with group of scientists?
Not sure how it help individual users, but probably if we have some. But again, if we depend just on some person and her opinion, it will be harder to diversify what is true, what is not. So probably but I think just double check information and think ourselves.
Yes, so that was, I think, very good question. As some okay. Next question: AI viruses, despite their complexity, with state-level funding, are a very possible problem for the future. How to prepare? There are many viruses that can be trained to survive anywhere, reproduce, and in one moment destroy. AI viruses. It's about AI viruses, but destroy data. Okay, in one moment they can destroy data. So maybe Igor, please maybe be more precise. Are you thinking about AI models that got virus inside, or maybe there is some model poisoning to, for example, suggest code, including some virus or invocation of virus, etc.?
I'm not actually a big specialist in cybersecurity sphere, but I guess viruses existed before, and now, yeah, we will have new issue with AI in different spheres, and in this sphere also. So, but we can train antiviruses with AI also, I guess. So, I think it's just technology. We can use it in positive way or in negative way. So yes, there are risks, but I guess there are also solutions the same using AI.
Okay, so a question from Ilya. What do you think about the fact that a couple of photos and a few minutes of audio recording are already enough to make a digital copy of a person? What can we expect in the future? So about deepfakes, I suppose the question is about deepfakes.
Well, yeah, maybe we have to be careful and publish less information about us, maybe photos, maybe just less information in general, so we can protect our personal information. But yeah, I think it's a problem because before we could see just issue with texting when people ask for money and they're acting like they're our friends or family. But now these people can have AI tools, and this can be even more dangerous. So yeah, I guess, and as I see, it's becomes more and more advanced every day. So yeah, we will see this issue, I guess. And yes, thank you for your question. And 1 second, there are more questions.
Yes, there is also the question from Oleg. So could you please comment your opinion about the security issues when nowadays attack vectors are maintained by the AI? For example, as attacks on Cloudflare 2 weeks ago. Looks like it's a new era of distributed denial of service, clustered attacks orchestrated by AI. So AI used for cybersecurity attacks, yeah. So not to defend, but use as a tool by malicious parties.
Yeah, yeah. Well, DDoS, it's not new approach to like in general, AI just empowered this option. I see, again, I'm not a specialist in cybersecurity, but I guess we just have to Mm, I'm not sure if it's possible to monitor what AI used for, because like we have a big company and they can control data AI producing, so probably it could be used to control this tool also. But again, I'm not sure how we can protect in this situation. I'm not expert in cybersecurity. Sorry.
Okay, so I can see any more questions. I've noticed that your presentations raise a lot of concerns that AI is important, not only from the scientific point of view, but also raises some concerns. Also, there are some business issues, and as we expected, as we experience with Google, who act as a gatekeeper for finding information, and Google got possibility to filter search results, and also some regimes like in China convinced Google to filter some results from the search results. We see now that more and more internet users are using ChatGPT to find information, to get this information processed. And what is more, today morning I have read the news article about ChatGPT Atlas from OpenAI. That is a web browser that will not display you web pages, but combine data from many web pages and construct web page with information you want. Yes, so we'll process this data. But the question is, what will happen during this data processing? How can it be influenced, etc.? So maybe let's leave it as an open question, just to have some own conclusions maybe after this panel. So thank you very much for your answers and your contribution and interesting presentation. So now I would like to pass voice to Professor Volodymyr Tokar.
Okay, well, I still have some internet because I'm losing it from time to time. So I think it was a very successful conference. Again, during blackouts, attacks, it's not possible to stop a human being when this being wants to succeed, basically. And intellectual power is more powerful than bombs. So thank you very much, Professor Wojtowicz. Thank you very much, Dr. Vilush, for wonderful moderation today. So you brought the floor, so-called, the flavor of European style, intelligence, sophistication, and it really has enriched our conference with this, like confidence and European style of moderation. So thank you very much. We really appreciate this. So as I can see, maybe I will start some ideas, and from both of you, I think we probably this year, we're going to publish 10 articles that were presented here, and that they went through the reviewing process. But I think maybe next year it would be better to give up for this format and maybe move towards the blogs. So short, to popularize information technology insights among the general public, maybe short 1 to 2 pages, and post it online so that everyone can see it, and maybe presentation plus blogs will be much better than articles. So what do you think about it? Please, Dr. Vilush, what would you say?
Yes. Well, we think it is a good idea to create such a knowledge base with user-generated content or researcher-generated content dynamically. With some question is whether it would be with some peer review phase or without it. What would be the selection process? So these are the open questions. But of course, this approach is very promising, and thank you for this idea. Also, other idea would be to maybe invite more specialists, not only from the academia world, but also from the industry or from the government, fighting against cyber threats in the conditions of cyber war, to create a platform of the exchange of the ideas between different stakeholders. So, and also it could be documented on blogs and in social media. Yeah, very good idea.
Okay, Dr. Vilush, your input, and probably we'll close like this. So,
okay. Yes, and I think that some panel discussion, maybe not just presentation and individual discussion with authors, but gathering a group of panelists to discuss some important topics, because we've noticed that some issues were like pretty hot topics, and for some topics raised more questions, more interest, concerns, etc. Maybe such kinds, like some AI ethics, AI security, AI, etc. So inviting panelists, maybe some today's presenters as well, people from industry. Maybe we will also invite people from Poland and IT security companies, etc. So I think it's worth considering. So the panel that will be a mix of people who are involved in industry, the business part, academia, and maybe also some public administration. I suppose that a lot can be contributed. However, I don't know how much can be revealed and how much is a secrecy, and it probably that's the limitation. But as far as I know, Ukraine got a lot of experience in case of cyber attacks, etc. So unfortunately, yeah, you've got many issues, and I know that also in Poland, our critical infrastructure is also invigilated by some attacks, probably coming from Russian Federation. Not a lot is revealed by authorities. Sometimes if something happened and people have seen, okay, there is no water in some city, then we know, okay, there was cyber attack, but no details revealed. Yes, so probably some knowledge is built right now. What's the problem and what should be improved? Yeah. And
Yes, thank
maybe
you very much.
sharing ideas will be a good contribution next year.
Yeah, wonderful idea, but I am afraid that if they tell us something, they will tell us, if I tell you the truth, I would have to kill you. So probably we will try to balance.
Yes.
I still have a lot of stuff to do, but it's great ideas. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, I think we have totally covered what we planned. And we saw when a person wants to present, nothing can stop a person. It's like record, yes, like Oleg Bogut, after some communication with him, found the way out. So if you motivate people, they can do like sometimes miracles. So thank you very much again, Professor Wojtowicz and Dr. Vilush, for your invaluable input into our conference, and hopefully you will support the same joint venture next year. We'll contact you maybe in November just to see and also incorporate your ideas. Thank you very much, all the participants. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a wonderful conference, and we have shown that we are strong when we are together, and nothing can stop us when we are united. Thank you very much, and see you during our next, maybe some kind of events. So I have stopped